Let me rest, Games Workshop. Please, let me rest. Welcome back, everyone, to another video. And today, we're going to be talking about the old world because they've just dropped an article and it's all about BRETONNIA, my favoritist faction in the world. So let's jump in and let's take a look at it. Now, ever since they announced the old world, I have just been in bloody hype mode. Now, I know AOS, it's fantasy game, but AOS for me personally hasn't really had that drive on the fantasy setting that the Warhammer fantasy game did back in the day. I was really attracted to like stuff like BRETONNIA, the Empire, the dwarves back then, you know, the high elves, all these cool armies and stuff. Again, I'm not trying to make this like an AOS versus fantasy bloody video because they're completely two different things, and that is where I'll always see them. Now, when it comes to BRETONNIA, I have to say BRETONNIA is the most badass faction in the old world. Yes, I will fight you to the death to prove this point. You can have your empire, you can have your orcs, you can have your giants, you can have anything you want. But at the end of the day, charging with thousands of horses in like lance formation, shouting for the leader, will never ever be surpassed. And now we have the first look at the map of BRETONNIA. I was wondering where they would go with this with BRETONNIA, because for those of you who are not aware, we are going back in time when we go back to the old world. That's why it's called the old world. This is not the day of Calfrans or anything like that. It's set a couple of hundred years before his time. If I'm not mistaken, it's set between a time called the War of the Three Emperors. There was like an Emperor Sigismund and stuff like that back then. But yes, like the characters that we all love and we all know from the old Warhammer fantasy game are really not around, unless like the high elves, of course, or dwarves who age really, really slowly. But some of the all the human characters that we know of are not really around at this time. So this is where I was like, I wonder where they're gonna go with BRETONNIA. Who's going to be the king? Who are going to be the lords? What is the whole lore around BRETONNIA around that time gonna be? But now with this article, we have some new information on where it's kind of set. So it says New Heraldry, and it starts off with the king of BRETONNIA. Who is this king that we've got? And it says King Lewin, the Orc Slayer. So it says, however, one name in particular stands out apart from all others. It's a name steeped in BRETONNIA's glory history. Ruler King Lewin, that's how you're supposed to say it, because of course they're like the base on the French and all that kind of stuff. But for someone to get a name like Orc Slayer, there has to be orcs. So in this article, it's confirmed orcs and BRETONNIA are going to be fighting off. Now, a little bit more information about King Lewin the Orc Slayer. This guy is famous for killing orcs. He actually got a ton of like knights and stuff, and he actually took the war to the orcs and the goblin forces, and he smashed them, and he forced the orcs into the surrounding mountains and stuff like that. So that's why he got the name King Lewin the Orc Slayer. He's a badass. He's an absolute bloody badass, in my opinion. And if we move on to the orc section, it says here, the Greenskins have been a thorn in the side of BRETONNIA long since before the legendary Duke Gilles Le Breton, sorry, that's how I like to say it, first won favour of the Lady of the Lake and unite the country under his rule. The alarming regularity of their wars and destructive rampages is the primary reason why the northern lands of BRETONNIA are so heavily defended with mighty castles and walled cities. This was the whole like war that, again, we just basically mentioned with the Orc Slayer, is that he took like the frontier cities from these orcs, and he then built fortresses along them, and he started to give it to knights and stuff, and this is where our new lords were popping up and everything like that. It was really such an epic time. So this is why I'm really excited now to see where the narrative goes with this. Is it going to be like a full-on war between the orcs and BRETONNIA? Are we going to see like we are going to see brand new bloody models, I know it, and this is the thing that excites me the most. Games Workshop, when it comes to fantasy models, have some of the greatest fantasy models that are out on the market. They're spectacular. I don't care if you dislike AOS, you always have to agree that the models they do for AOS are bloody fantastic. And now we're going back to the old world, and that old world is getting a love with new models. This is what really excites me. Seeing new orcs, seeing new BRETONNIA knights and stuff, all these, the HQ choices and just everything attached to it. I'm just bloody excited. And just at the bottom of the article, high elves are mentioned as well. So far we've got Empire, high elves, Kislev, We're probably going to have chaos in there because it won't be the old world without chaos, and of course Bretonia. So the High Elves enclaves, it says, the High Elves of Ulthuan were once the undisputed rulers of the seas, maintaining the trade networks of colonies and glittering port cities on every continent, from the Tower of the Rising Sun in the east to the Citadel of Dusk in the west. The coast of Bretonia was no exception. The map features no fewer than 4 such enclaves. Tor Solile, sorry, again, I'm probably butchering it, sits on the northwest coastline, while Tor Bizoze can be found to the southwest, just north of the city of Brionne. Meanwhile, Tor Martel and the Silent Isle can be found on the islands just off Bretonia's western coast. And right at the end of the article it says, and all that, we didn't even mention the Wood Elves. Yes, because the Wood Elves are mentioned, actually, you can actually see the Wood Elves there. You can see it in the background now, look, the Wood Elf symbol. They even mentioned the Wood Elves, so there's another faction as well. Wood Elves, I really think they're going to bring it back, all the factions, really. That was in the old Warhammer game. Maybe 1 or 2 may be left out, but, you know, the majority of them will be brought back at some point. So it says, we didn't even mention the Wood Elves. We'll leave you to take another look at the map for now, but remember to sign up for the newsletter, yada, 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 the latest news. Hopefully, as I mentioned a couple of days ago, this video, sorry, not this video, next year, 2021, what am I on about? I'm bloody so excited, I'm so sorry. In 2021, this is going to be like the year where we're going to start seeing a lot more stuff. I'm probably saying this is off my guesstimate, that the game is still 2 to 4 years out, 4 years max out, so we're probably not going to be seeing like any models as of yet, and maybe like, you know, the rendered models that we saw with the Sisters of Battle. Probably, if anything, we're going to see more concept art of the actual armies that are going to be coming to the game. But there's a whole different subject really on, you know, how many armies are going to launch with this game. They can't just be 2 armies. They're going to have to at least do 3 or 4, 5 armies at least to launch with this game. So when this game does launch, it has got to be, you know, a really, really big thing. So yes, hopefully next year that'll all be covered and we can really go down the rabbit hole and start talking about it a lot more. Anyway, that is enough rambling for me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching as always. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. Old Worlders, what faction do you want brought back? What faction are you going to be representing? Have I got any Bretonia fanboys in the comments section? Who's going to be riding for the lady with me? I'm super excited. Every time I see an Old World article pop up, I just lose my mind because this is one of the like connections to my childhood, and I absolutely bloody love it. So hopefully we're going to be seeing a lot more, and I just bloody can't wait. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm just bloody repeating things. See you in a bit. Have a great day. See you now, and bye bye.